Hello everyone, it is me, Madam Pamita, your favorite troublemaking witch, and we are doing our, what is this even called? Meet My Familiar. Sorry, I'm doing 15 things at once. Today we're going to be meeting with Nicholas Pearson as soon as he gets on. There he is. We're going to be talking about familiar magic, working with familiars, working with animals in your magic. And I love meeting with my witch community and talking about all of the unique and different ways that our magical people work with animals. It's so beautiful. So, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I have a new book coming out in January called The Witch's Guide to Animal Familiars. It is a book with over 100 spells, different ways that you can work with your animals, your pets, your wild animals, your farm animals, everything from spiders and bees to bears and coyotes and, of course, dogs, cats, horses, and all the usual. So I'm very, very excited to talk with Nicholas. I am... Here, let's get Nicholas in here. I'm going to let's see, invite you. How do I invite you? It's not showing up. Add as moderator? No, I want to invite you. Let's see. Maybe you could. Oh, there we go. You've got a request in. That's why. Alrighty, he'll be here in just a second. I don't have my notes in front of me. We're doing a big Hex the Patriarchy spell kit right now, and so I've been busy, and you can see I'm in the factory making candles. So I'm coming in very, very last minute and unprepared. But Nicholas is awesome, and and a good friend and colleague, of course, and so I'm sure he doesn't mind. As soon as he gets on here, we'll bring him on. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. It's great to see everyone here. Thank you so much for joining. Let me give you waves and say hello. We're waiting for him to come in. I'm going to do an impromptu bio that you're going to fill in the blanks as soon as you get on, Nicholas, because I don't have your bio in front of me, unfortunately. I'm very improvisational today. Okay. Whoops. What happened? Okay, he's going to try coming back in again. I think he was having problems joining. Well, I will tell you a little bit about Nicholas. Nicholas is an author. He specializes in talking about crystal magic. I have a few of his books. I have many of his books at home, but I'm at the shop today, and I just grabbed a couple off the shelf. One of his books is Crystal Healing for the Heart. That's one of the books that we have here at the Parlor of Wonders, the 7 Archetypal Stones. He is that wonderful magical friend who... let's see if he's coming in right now. Let's see if we can get him in here. He's that wonderful magical friend that you can talk about plant magic. You can talk about crystal magic. You can talk about all of the things. He always has, let's see. Let me see if I can get you in here. Let's see. There we go. Let me see if I can send you a request and that will bring you in. Let's see if you can get in that way. We'll make it. We got all the time. There you are.
It finally worked.
Yes. It's so great to see you. First of all, I just want to say it's so fabulous to see you. And Nicholas, I don't have your bio in front of me, so I can just tell everybody what I know, and can you fill in the things that I left out. I was just saying earlier before you dropped in how you are an amazing author with multiple books, all these amazing, beautiful, deep, wise books about crystals. I grabbed a few off the shelves of what we sell here. I just sort of ran over there and grabbed what I saw. But here's one of your books, The 7 Archetypal Stones, that I love because it is such a deep dive rather than, like just a list, which, I think those books that are like handy, dictionaries are great. And you have some of those as well. But I am a person that loves to go on the deep exploration and understanding. And this is one of those absolute gems of a book, pun intended, that will let you go into like a very, very deep and meaningful relationship with the crystals. Relationship is what I'm all about. And this is like my animal book is about relationship with animals. And that's what you do for crystals with this one. And then another one I just grabbed off the shelf over here is Crystal Healing for the Heart, which I think is such a necessary book right now for everyone. This one should be on your shelf in your next to your bed, as we are dealing with such tumultuous and difficult challenges in the US right now, this is such a good book, such a good book for our self-care during this time. I think this is just wonderful. And I can really genuinely say, recommend every single one of your books that you write. And you've written like 15 or something, right? Isn't that right?
Or not quite there, but I'm working my way up. I'm writing number 11 right now.
I knew you were past 10. I knew you were in the double digits. But you know, such an amazing, wonderful author. So what did I not get out of your bio that should have been in there that you need to tell people about
I,
yourself?
I think that's a pretty good synopsis. The short version is I really like rocks. I also like a few other things, but I really like rocks. And they were kind of part of my entryway into the natural world, into a world full of spirit, which I think dovetails with this larger conversation we're going to have today about building relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another thing, I don't know that everyone knows about you, but since I know you, I can tell them this, that you are also a geologist, gemologist, that you have like this, it's not just like woo woo, it's all like based in science and geology and understanding the rocks on a very deep level. So there's that part, which I also love science, you know. So I love magic and I love science, and I love when the two meet and that we have these higher conversations that incorporate both. And your books do that so beautifully. So that's why I totally adore you and admire you so much as an author, and so thrilled to be talking with you today. So
Oh,
I'll toot
thank
your
you.
horn for you. So, do you want to talk a little bit about your animal familiar and give us a little introduction to your familiar and all of that? So, tell us about your familiar.
Yeah, so, you know, almost 2 years ago, one cool January afternoon, while I was typing away at a book that took me a long time to finish and then a longer time still, but it's almost here finally. I took a break and I had some very room temperature, very bitter tea that started out really lovely. And my ritual when I have very good tea to dispose of it when I've forgotten about it is to just to go offer it to the earth. Again, being in relationship, the tea plant is a plant spirit ally of mine. And out there in the lawn appears this little face. And like any witch worth their salt, who's a plant lover, I have more than my fair share of nightshades and other baneful plants in the garden. And there are plenty of these little feral cats that run through the neighborhood. And I always try to like let them know, hey, you can pass through, but don't linger around these guys. They will get you. And this cute little face just stands up and comes running towards me. I'm like, oh, this was the opposite effect we were aiming for. Danger, danger. And he headbutted me and rolled over, and I was smitten instantly. So he was a cute little kitten at the time. He's still cute. He's just not so little or kitten. Um, you know, rail thin and undernourished. So I didn't really have any cat food in the house. We haven't had pets in quite a long time. So I gave him the only thing that I could think of, which was eggs with a little bit of cheese on top. And he went crazy for the cheese. And hence he got the namesake of Cheddar, because he came back at roughly the same time every day over the next several weeks, demanding his tribute of cheese. And so we ended up with Cheddar.
Oh my gosh. You know, one of the things that I think, you know, the reason I'm having these conversations and talking with people is because the one of the most wonderful, unique parts of the familiar relationship to me, the most magical stories are how familiars come into our lives. And oftentimes it's in this very unique, magical, unexpected way. I think probably 9 times out of 10, it's not somebody going, oh, I'm looking for this particular animal, the animal, and you meet, just like chance encounters when we fall in love. I always think there's a love affair, obviously a platonic love affair, but a love affair that happens with these very, very special animals, that it's like the universe is conspiring to bring you two together, you know. And it's with free will on both the animal and your part, you know, that little, his Cheddar came to you, he came running to you, not not you chasing after him, which it's so gorgeous and beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love that story. I love that story. So in terms of like the cooperation, and you think about like working cooperatively, like what does Cheddar lend to your magical practice? What does he bring to the table when you think about it? I mean, they all kind of bring something different, but what does he bring to the table that's so special to you?
He's pretty ambivalent about most of the things that I do as long as they don't make too much noise. Being a musician, that comes with its dangers. But there is exactly one rock that he gets really invested in. Anyone who knows me, if anyone has like peeked behind me on shelves or desks or the floor during Instagram lives, you know that there are rocks on every available surface, and he just kind of takes it in stride. There are rocks outside, there are rocks inside, it's fine. But the moment I lay some Preseli bluestone down on the floor, he's there. He just wants to be in that space. So if I set up a grid and that rock takes a key feature in it, he's curled up around it, on top of it, between it, depending on how many pieces that I'm using. And what's really kind of heartwarming to me is that is one of my favorite stones as well. Now I have a few favorites. I have a short list of things that I kind of cycle through as like the answer to, what is your favorite stone? But it's Preseli that he singled out, and not even 2 months after he appeared in our lives, my husband and I went away to England, which is where this rock is from. Well, technically from Wales, but we went to go see it in situ at Stonehenge, and to do this like deeper work with it and retreat at Glastonbury. And so, he arrived around the time we went to do those things, which was bittersweet. We had to leave him behind. Others had to care for us, but he reminds me that the magic isn't something we have to outsource. You don't have to go halfway around the world and go stand in the stones at Stonehenge. 10 out of 10, highly recommend it if you can manage it. But if not, like, there's magic all around us. There's magic in your backyard. There's magic in your home. And this is otherwise, like, geologically speaking, there's a story every rock tells, but it's just ophitic dolerite. And that's the thing he singled out among all of the fancier, shinier, rarer, more valuable things. Um, that's what he wants, and it is also the kind of rock that I gravitate towards. So I think there's something about this sense of connection to the land. I mean, he emerged from a ditch in our yard. He came up from what appeared to be the underworld, and he's always had this kind of very grounding presence in my life that sometimes I need, especially when the world is chaotic. But like any cat, he's still a diva. So we still have to cater to him.
I know we're always the humble servants when we have cats. I have two, and I mean they're my teachers, they're my bosses, they're all of it rolled into one. What is it about? I mean, like one of the things that I kind of think from the outside looking at what you're describing that's fascinating to me is that this is kind of almost that, to me, confirmation that different stones have different vibration, that different stones radiate different energy. And because if all stones were inert and didn't radiate anything, then it wouldn't matter what stones you put down, and he would lie next to them, right? So the fact that he's choosing a stone, and it's not for something, like it's a toy that he can play with, or what I mean? Like, let's say it's a sphere that he could roll around, something like that. You could go, well, maybe it's the shape that he's fascinated with, but it's the vibration of the stone that he feels connected to. What is it about that stone that is, you think, the connection? I mean, what does that stone represent? I'm a crystal intermediate, maybe beginner to intermediate. I'm it's not my level of expertise by any means, which is why I always refer to your books when I need some information. I'm going to go to the smarter person that knows more. But what is it about that particular stone what does it radiate? What does it symbolize? What does it energetically mean? And then why do you think he's connecting to it? If you have any idea why he is.
Well, for me, Priscilla Bluestone is kind of situated this interesting nexus of like expansion and contraction of celestial and terrestrial. It it has a long geological history. It is not the only rock used in the construction of Stonehenge, but it is arguably the more famous of the rocks used in the construction of Stonehenge, even though it's not the biggest one there. And there are a lot of theories about why ancient peoples might have brought it from so far away. But one of the kind of outstanding theories is that particularly the ophitic varieties, the ones that have these little splashes of white against a dark green, gray, blue, gray background, they almost look like the stars in the night sky. So we have this really earthy, grounding composition, but we still have this connection to the heavens. And of course, Stonehenge has its astronomical connections. With sunrise and sunset on particular points of the wheel of the year, we see that there is this kind of intersection between heaven and earth. And one of the things about cats is they're such liminal beings. They are here and not here at all times. They will stare right through you. They will ignore you. They will listen to you more intently than anyone ever has. And you never know exactly which you're going to get, and somehow it's always a mixture of the three. And it's that kind of otherworldliness of cats that we see in myth and legend. And I mean, there's a reason cats and witches go hand in hand, right? We also have to stand betwixt the worlds at the threshold. We have to ride the hedge, cross the veil of consciousness, use whatever metaphor you want. And I suspect it's almost like coming home to him, even though he's obviously not from Pembrokeshire in Wales. I think we can safely rule that one out, but there's something about the magic of a stone like that that feels like home to me, and clearly must feel like home to him.
Yeah. I think one of the things, just for clarification, maybe not everyone knows that the stones of Stonehenge came from hundreds of miles away, that they weren't locally sourced stones. They weren't locavores when it came to building Stonehenge. They brought this beautiful stone from Wales, which is what is now Wales, hundreds of miles away. This beautiful, beautiful bluestone. I have a little bluestone bracelet that I got when I was in, I want to say maybe when I was in Scotland. I wasn't near, I don't think I got it near Stonehenge. I think I got it up when I was up north. But it is such a beautiful and powerful stone, but I never knew the details because it's not really one of the common ones that most, you look up and, amethyst or rose quartz or whatever, and you look it up and what it means. So, yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh, that to me is so, so amazing and so magical. And so maybe he also brings some of that grounding, celestial, intermediary energy to your life and to your practice, and to amplify that energy of your favorites, one of your favorite stones, one of your favorites. It's so beautiful. I love that so much. Has he ever shown interest other than in stones in any other? Because I sometimes, it's not a thing to say, like I have a cat that only does healing. She's not interested in my magic or my readings. I have my other cat who's totally interested and all up in my candle magic and all up in my readings. But I think that one of the aspects of a familiar is that it's a cooperative experience. You're not forcing them to lend their energy to anything. They're going to show you what they want to lend their energy to. And so, has there been anything else that he has done, or any other wonderful, unique kind of things that he brings besides that?
There are a couple little vignettes. Largely, he just decides when he wants to be present or not. I mean, I think he still thinks he's a feral cat. You know, he's got quite the life of luxury, but he'll let us know when it's outside time or inside time, whether it's an overnight inside or outside situation. So it's always hard to predict when he's going to become suddenly interested in what I'm doing. But being an animal Reiki teacher and practitioner with Let Animals Lead method of animal Reiki, I always want to respect his agency about whether he's being present. It's letting him lead. So, sometimes he'll hop on top of me when I'm doing my self-treatment. He rarely wants to, receive that kind of hands-on healing, but he'll be proximal to it. The only real exception for what we will do that excites him is if we move magic outside, because then all of a sudden we're going into his home territory, and he will watch, he will follow. So, if we do our kind of quarterly or more often as needed warding, cleansing, protection work around the home, he'll follow us. He'll watch from the back of the yard as we circle the house. If we get a bonfire going, which always has magical herbs and other things going on, it's never just a bonfire. He will sit and stalk us, and he always watches it with great fascination and caution from far away. So I think of him more observer than participant in most of my
Yeah.
work.
And probably I would just with conjecture would say he's lending his energy to your outdoor work. And that is fascinating to me, is that, the observation, the close observation and the mindfulness that you have, that you're like, oh yeah, he's definitely interested in outdoor. He's not so interested in indoor. He's not interested in receiving Reiki or receiving Reiki from tactily receiving Reiki. But he's lending energy when I do self Reiki. It's kind of amazing, right? When we notice these and we pay attention and we notice these special things. I love it so much. I love that. If you were to offer like a tip or a trick or advice or wisdom for someone who wanted to bring in a familiar, or had a familiar, or the familiar relationship, are there some things that you could share from your own experience that would enlighten somebody?
Yeah, so I really kind of reflect back on this idea of agency, and also recognition that, like, on a really universal, we're gonna take a step back and go in like really broad strokes. Um, Animals always know themselves. You never meet a cat that, like, forgets what it is to be a cat entirely, or a dog who doesn't understand its inherent dogliness, if you will. And there is a real magic that comes from following that, of respecting their agency to be authentically themselves and to live the same way. It's in some ways a lot harder for us. And even if we have animals that aren't really super into the hands-on participation, that kind of observation that we can make of them, of respecting their autonomy, their agency, their inherent wisdom, then we're going to learn to kind of lead our lives in the same way, and to come from the space of knowing who we are. That's a really powerful magic in a world where it's hard to know anything for certain. If you can know yourself for certain, you have a leg up on everything else going on.
It's amazing. I also think that one of the other kind of aspects of working with a familiar, and I think you probably are doing this consciously or unconsciously, which is that when we meet with an animal magically, it is not, it is a meeting, but it also allows us this opening to enter into their world, which is instinctual, intuitive, I think more open in general. I feel, we have a lot of societal stuff for us. We are so far from our own wild nature, that we can, and even domestic animals, you might say, are a little further from their wild nature, but cats were not domesticated by people. Cats domesticated themselves. So they're kind of still very easily can flip into being feral, I think, much more than some other animals that don't know how to survive without the support of humans. Some other domesticated animals really do have gotten to the point they absolutely need us. So, have you found that you're on your own self, that he has shown you things or opened up things that were new ways of looking at things, maybe, or experiencing things?
Yeah. I think a really good exercise for any of us that work with animals, that appreciate animals or admire them, especially if there are some in our lives, is just to look at the world through their eyes. Like, to just imagine what things are like through their perspective. And that can mean a lot of things. It can be like, what is the literal vantage point of the cat stalking? what can they see in the dark that we can't see? And metaphorically, what might that also mean? What if we could perceive more, hear more, sense more, smell more, be in tune with more, and to like just recognize how we are situated in this context, this ecosystem of energy and spirit and magic. I mean, just keep close tabs on a house cat all day long, and they've got so much going on while doing so little. There's this sense of zen, this sense of everything has purpose. If I could sit with that much purpose, I might have a more fulfilling life. I wouldn't have to constantly be typing away at the computer or pacing while I'm not typing away at the computer to try
Yeah.
to invent some sense of purpose some days. And I think there is this incredible opening that comes from connecting to animals in that way.
It's such, I think of it, I call it that rewilding of ourselves and understanding. And it's, really it's an empathetic and empathic path of like bringing yourself to that place and not demanding that they um, behave like a human, that we can meet them and understand them and learn from them. Oh my gosh, so much can we learn from these animals in our lives. I love it that you do animal Reiki, and that's another beautiful thing that I never even knew about you. There's always so many wonderful things to discover. I mean, oh my gosh, you are so dear to me, so special. Every time we see each other at a conference, it always is such a wonderful, happy reunion. And I miss our INATs. INAT
Yeah,
stuff for me was always the best time because we got so much time to be able, as authors and creators, to see one another and chat and talk. We weren't being pulled in a million different directions, and I do miss that. So, but I know there'll be other events and things that we will see each other in person, and we'll do interviews like this to see each other, to see
absolutely.
and connect with one another. Do you want to share with everyone what you have coming up, your new books, what you're promoting? You're always such a busy bee. I know you've got lots, so take it away and share everything, all your things, whatever is going on for you.
Well, thank you so much. Um, I always have a lot of things going on, so probably the next thing coming up is a class on crystal divination, which is happening later this month. I've also got my monthly online Reiki share. We kind of cycle through different principles and techniques and philosophies and historical anecdotes. And it's just a thing I do to hold space for community each and every month. So I've got that coming later this month as well. But like the big news coming on the horizon is my new book coming out in January as well. We both have January book babies, so we get to celebrate together. And it's
Yes.
called Crystals for Psychic Self-Defense. It is 145 gemstones for banishing, binding, and magical protection.
I mean, is that divine timing? Is that the most
Don't
divine
we need it?
timing? Like, I feel like that is such that itself, because what people don't know is that a book doesn't take 3 months to write. Like you don't foresee when your book is going to come out and what's needed. You kind of plan 2 years or more in advance. This book probably took you more than 2 years, right?
I started writing it in 2019.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I've never had
So
a project take this long.
but isn't that wonderful divine timing that it did take long, so it comes out right at the time that it is so needed in this world when we need to be protecting ourselves energetically. We've got so much work to do. We've got so much work to do, and to like have that resource of protection. What a gorgeous blessing that book is. Oh my gosh, Nicholas, amazing, right?
Well, thank you.
Oh my gosh. What else is going? Anything else you want to promote too besides that? Okay. And also, can I throw this in too? People, pre-order your books by your favorite author. The pre-orders are very extremely helpful. It is more helpful if you pre-order because it tells the publisher how successful book is going to be, and it gives them an indication of how many to print so they can plan ahead,
Mhm.
because otherwise you run out and then people are disappointed and don't get it and all of that. So support your authors by pre-ordering. And I also have this little kind of trick that you can do is if you have a local mom and pop metaphysical store or a small mom and pop bookshop in your town, order the book there, because if you pre-order it there or ask them for that book there, they will not only order one for you, they will probably order one for the shop. And so you can double your impact. Plus, you're helping support these small businesses, which I'm like, F the corporations right now. I'm like over the top activist all the time. So, but anyway, this is a wonderful way, whether you do it through the corporate things or you do it through your mom and pop, but pre-ordering is so, so good. Okay. Anything else? Sorry. I wanted to just throw my 2 cents in there. So.
Well, thank you. And yes, that's great advice for like all of the authors you love in our field or beyond. Those pre-orders speak volumes. And no matter where you buy a book, leaving a review on a place like Amazon is really useful. If for no other reason, lots of consumers look up reviews, look up data on those places first and foremost before making decisions. So you don't have to love Amazon, you don't have to interact with it any other way, but that can be such a great sign to authors to keep doing the work. I mean, I know a lot of us don't read the reviews, but I actually I learn things from those reviews, and I know that they help other readers. So that would be my other little piece about that. Pre-order indie books, great way to do it. My local indie bookshop here in Orlando just added it to their website yesterday, I think. So that way you can order my new book there, but also anywhere else you can order books, go for it.
Excellent, excellent. So where can they find you online so they can take your classes, get involved with your Reiki sessions, or find out about all of your books on everything that a magical thing that you do? Where can they find you?
Well, thank you. If you want to track me down, it's theluminouspearl.com or at theluminouspearl on most social media. And that'll take you to all the things you need. It's got a calendar of events. It's got a page devoted to every one of my books with buying links across all the major platforms and a few unexpected ones. You'll find media interviews and other fun stuff going on there. And if you sign up for the newsletter twice a month, you get a little dose of Nicholas in your inbox. With some crystal tips or other relevant and timely information, and just a little reminder about some upcoming events.
So good, so good. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join me on Instagram right now. If you would like, anybody that is watching, if you'd like to see some more interviews with amazing magic makers all over the world that I'm going to be interviewing, all you have to do is follow me, Madam Pamita, on Instagram. We also post these for like forever, because Instagram, when we do things, it kind of stays up for a week and then it's gone, gets buried. So we do have these recordings put up on YouTube and also on TikTok, and you can find them there as well. But we'll be doing the lives on Instagram until I get banned again. I got put in jail. So I mean, listen, it's not off the table that I'll get put in jail again. I might just have to move it over to YouTube, but as long as they'll allow me and my mouthy self to be here. Keep fighting the power, everyone. This is such an important time to do whatever you can, whatever it is, whether it's magic for yourself to protect yourself, or if you are in a place like I am where you could be a little more mouthy, or whatever in between. There's all kinds of resources we have for taking care of ourselves, and also changing, dismantling harmful systems and all of those things. So yes, absolutely. I love you, Nicholas. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to just see your beautiful face. And I'm looking forward to the next time we meet and we get together and we chit chat about stones. I'm always like, this is a little side note. I'm always like, hey, Nicholas, tell me about the stone I'm wearing. I'm sure everybody does that. Is it real? Is it fake? I had this turquoise necklace, beautiful turquoise necklace that my friend Kim, who's sitting over on the other side of the camera, you can't see her, she gave to me this gorgeous necklace. And I'm like, is this real turquoise? And you were like, yeah, that's real turquoise. And I'm like, oh, that's a very fancy necklace she gave me. So yes, anyway, take care, everyone. Thank you again. Oh my gosh, you got a lot of thank yous and love coming from the audience here. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon, Nicholas. And thank you guys for joining us and watching. And whether you're watching this recording or you're watching live, we so appreciate you. And keep making magic, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Bye,
Bye, everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.